am so happy to have a guest like Sahil Priyani here, a business-to-business high-ticket sales expert from Dubai. Welcome, Sahil.
Thank you so much, Antonis. It's nice seeing you.
Nice having you here. Nice seeing you as well. And do you want to tell us a little bit more about your background?
Absolutely. So I'm the co-founder here at Maverick Velocity, and basically I run this business with my elder brother. And predominantly what we do is we work with high-ticket B2B service-based businesses
Yeah.
and help them sort of build an end-to-end sales system, right? So everything from helping them generate more leads to getting more meetings into their calendars and also helping them close more deals, right? So that's pretty much what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. I see. So, what about you personally? What's your story, let's say, behind the business stuff?
Absolutely. The story is quite interesting, actually. I started out into working and stuff when I was almost, I think I would say 16,
All
and
right.
I did this unpaid internship. And the funny thing about it is that after all of the work that actually went down, well, let's just say that the feedback was absolutely negative, and I'm never afraid about negative feedback. It was the
Yeah.
way that I was treated in that internship. That's the day I decided I will absolutely never work for anybody else in my entire life, right? So I did my own thing out.
Uh,
I tried to figure out, what exactly it is to do. That's why I started getting into digital marketing and stuff.
yeah.
Luckily, my brother was actually running a business at that time, and he said, you know what, hey, you know what, these are some of the projects. Take your hand on them, see how you feel about this, and all of that. So the day
Yeah.
I started getting into that, I was absolutely miserable, by the way, at everything that I did. But then I had this thing where I'm like, I'm not going to go sleep without learning exactly how to crack this,
Yeah.
right? That's what actually took me to then starting my career in sales, where I just absolutely bombarded the first two calls that I had. But of course, with training, I knew that sales is my true calling. So
Mm.
that's why we're here today.
Brilliant. That sounds so good. At the start you have the difficulty and the struggle and the pain, and then you do something about it, right?
Absolutely.
So what has been the biggest game changer for your business in the past year, you think?
I think if I was to take a step back from the past year as well, it's always these new things that I keep hearing about, which is automate your business entirely. Passive income, right? All of this
Mm.
stuff I feel like is absolute bullcrap, because if you are running a business, no matter what it is, you've got to be involved, right? So this
Yeah.
sort of whole thing of automating, trying to automate everything and all of that stuff is what I think we made a mistake 3 years back, where we're like, hey, without our input, without our strategic minds,
Mm.
this is not going to work out, right? You can always
Yeah.
find smart people. Of course, I agree with the saying that you should always ask smarter people to be working for you. But when we're specifically talking about the online world, right, and we're talking
Yeah.
about sales in itself, right,
Mm-hmm.
um, there's only so much that you can teach people below you, right? There's only so much that you can delegate. So the whole automating 4-hour work week, all of that stuff, I think does not really work. And to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I like it this way, right? I like working. And if any of you guys watching this do not like what you guys are doing, I think that should be a calling enough for you to just really switch up and see where your true calling is. So that's
Yeah.
that's what I would say. Whole automating aspect, of course, try to automate your business as much as possible. With the increasing adoption of AI as well, things are possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But completely pulling yourself away from the business and thinking somebody can run it better than you, especially if you have an online business, I think that's going to be a mistake. But that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That linked perfectly with the next question, I'm sure, because do you have a mistake that you made early on and you learned a valuable lesson from?
You mean from a business perspective?
Let's say generally speaking, if you think that something is, well, we can say one and one if you have that many, I guess.
No, I think mistakes are the entire part of being where I am today, because
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you think about starting a business, when you think about, pitching to clients all across the globe, selling through, mediums like Zoom, Google Meet, and all of that, when you don't see the other person and asking them to pay you a premium for your services,
Yeah.
things are difficult, right, when you're starting out. So I think more than mistakes, what I would like to highlight would be the learnings, right? That
Yeah.
it's actually not about, what I used to focus on in the beginning is just selling, using this script, using that technique and this technique and all of that stuff. When really, if you're speaking to your prospect in a way as if it's a friend giving somebody advice,
Yeah.
right? Exactly the tone that I'm speaking right now.
Mm.
That's what makes a difference. So
Mm.
that's, I would say, one of the most important things that I learned in my career, right? Before obviously starting out watching people like, Jordan Belfort, Grant Cardone, which is
Yeah.
amazing, right? These guys are gurus, these guys are absolute giants. But
Mm.
you also need to understand that human element,
Mm.
especially in 2024 with everything going around with AI. A person like you and I, any
Mm.
individual would like that human touch, would like that connection, right?
Yeah.
And
Correct.
become a trusted advisor. That's how you become good at the game that you are at, not by using sales techniques to convince someone of something. If you really don't think you
Mm-hmm.
can help them, you should just hop off the sales call.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
100%. I see that in myself as well. If I don't have a solution to a problem, I just don't even go there and try to act like it. You're just being honest, right?
Be honest about it, yeah. Because ultimately, otherwise, it's going to come to you later on. It's going to bite you later on,
Yeah.
right? It's
Mm.
great to just sort of convince someone, use all the objection handling stuff that you can, but ultimately, it does, bite you later on. So,
Mm.
best is to actually, and this is, as I said, one of the main things that I learned throughout my career, just speak to them as a friend. If you're genuinely trying to help them, you're not even going to need to sell, right? But of
Yeah.
course, with that being you need to follow certain tonal patterns. You need to sort of have that entire structure around. You can't just go ahead and have a casual conversation.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So, what would you say is one question you get asked most often about your business in particular?
I think it's about how exactly it is that we built a system like this, right?
All right.
And because of course, and that's adding on to that is that why are you in a space which is already so competitive? Now,
Yeah.
I see pretty much everybody trying to do lead generation and stuff like that, right? Like lead
Mm-hmm.
generation is sort of a buzzword, I would say.
Yeah.
So my whole point is that we're not here to just sort of really generate leads for you, right? Like that's not what we're doing. What happens after you generate a lead? What happens after you sort of get to a stage where you're speaking to them one on one, right?
Yeah.
These are things that really matter. How do you actually go towards the close? How do you do the negotiations, right? How do you actually get the deal signed? That's what we're in the business for, not to
Mm-hmm.
provide you that say yes, I'm interested and all of that. So that's one of the questions about how competitive. And I think adding on to that would be, how did you build a system? The most simple answer that I have for people that ask me that, a lot of the clients that ask me that as well, is
Mm-hmm.
that we followed this system for 2 to 3 years until we decided we're really good at this. And that's when we started selling it. So if it didn't
Mm-hmm.
work for us, we wouldn't be selling it, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like what you're practicing, you're preaching exactly that.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And that's the most efficient though, isn't it?
Absolutely is. And that's how you, because when you're on calls, when you're really trying to help people as well, let's say a B2B business,
Mm-hmm.
when I know deeply in my mind that I can absolutely help this guy, there's no way that I'm not going to close the deal. And there's no way that that client is not going to get results. So it's really just about, believing and seeing it work in your own scenario
Yeah.
so that you have that proof of concept, right? Or a strong basis with
Yeah.
what you had. Yeah.
Exactly. So, what is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self starting out as an entrepreneur?
I think, this is a very deep question because
Mm.
when I started out, I really thought, the smallest of the smallest worries would get to me. And, it's almost like I would have these multiple midlife crises, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, the only thing I would say is taking one step at a time and making sure the inputs are never faltered. So what I mean by that is that
Mm.
you do not control results, right? The day you try to do that, you're gonna end up either depressed or you're gonna just end up doubting yourself, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry about the results, just worry about how much input you're putting in. If you're not putting in enough efforts, that's what you should be worried about, and that's what you should beat yourself for, right? Not
Yeah.
what am I getting the results, because consistency beats talent.
Mm.
Consistency beats skill as well, right?
Correct.
And that's exactly what I would tell my younger self when I used to get, this, I'm not hitting this number, I'm not hitting that milestone. And
Mm.
then after this, right now, there's so many times that I don't hit the numbers that I want to, that I don't hit my goals. But I know
Yeah.
for a fact I am putting in efforts. So if not today, in a week, in a month, in 6 months, it is going to materialize, right? That's the rule of thumb that I play by.
Yeah. And how did you know that even if you didn't get the right result, how did you know that this is the right thing to do? As I can see that I haven't achieved this result yet, but the actions that I take are the correct ones for me to get to the result. How did you know that? If
And
you
that's an
did.
amazing question. Yeah, that's an amazing question, Antonis. And I wish I had asked somebody this when I was starting out, right? Because that would give me so much
Mm.
insight. How to
Yeah.
know when you're doing the right thing. A lot of the times you don't, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the time you're like, am I doing the right thing? But for me, one thing that has really helped, and if the viewers also find this helpful, I think that's going to be great, is that always go back to the fundamentals.
Mm.
Always go back to the basics. Thing is, what
Yeah.
happens is when we're trying to work on multiple things, or when we're trying to work on something, we overcomplicate things so much that the
Mm.
main focus from the basics, the fundamentals, just gets diverted, right? So when I
Yeah.
am unsure if I'm doing the right thing, I go back to my vision, I go back to the fundamentals of my work, and
Yeah.
then see if both of them align. If my
Mm.
vision aligns with the work that I'm doing right now, right? So it's just taking steps back, right?
Yeah.
That's what really matters.
I see what you mean. Right, let's get on to the bonus section now. I'll say one word or a phrase, and you must reply with the first thought that comes to your mind. Still one word. Get it?
Okay, got it.
Let's see. Let's start. Artificial intelligence and sales.
Make it your friend, or you're gonna get beaten up.
That's a good one. High ticket sale.
Persistence.
Digital marketing.
Dead.
AI driven society.
Interesting.
AI driven business.
Ideal.
Objections.
Inevitable.
Business is people.
Wisdom.
And trust.
Non-negotiable.
In digital marketing, you said dead. Do you want to elaborate on that?
I love how you chose the most controversial topic. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, but I think it's digital marketing is
Mhm.
confused nowadays with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just posting, 3 pieces of content a month cannot be called digital marketing. So I think rather than dead, I would like to use the word, you need to redefine what exactly digital marketing is, just because of the
Yeah.
clutter in the market now, right?
Mm.
Digital marketing is the art of communicating your brand's message to the people that want to buy it, or your target audience, right?
Yeah.
And you use the right channels for that. So now that we're talking about reshaping the entire definition, I think there needs to be a lot of thought put into artificial intelligence, about
Mm.
sentiments, about psychology, right? You
Yeah.
cannot be let's say you're a small business owner, and why I said that, right? A small business owner would make this mistake of, let's say, hiring an SEO agency, right? They would do their work for 30 days. And,
Yeah.
that's not really, or let's say they're also posting 5 pieces of content on Instagram every month, which is very less in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, those pieces of content are very beautiful. They look amazing, but they're not speaking to the target audience. That is
Yeah.
not what digital marketing is, right?
Exactly.
That's just some creative work that you put out online, right? So that's what I would like to really mention.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. So,
Reshaping it. Yeah.
what about trust? You said non-negotiable.
Trust in every aspect, right? Whether this
Mm-hmm.
may be your personal life or if you're talking about business life as well. I think, let's say if you have a partner or you have a team, right? So for
Yeah.
example, the team we have here at Maverick, it's all of us are either close family members or close network people, close friends. That's how we built it. Because we're like, if you're going to be a part of the mission with us, we've got to
Mm-hmm.
trust you, right?
Yeah.
And trust is something that, again, the main, I would say, pillar for sales as well. I could
Mm.
be the best salesperson on the planet.
Yeah.
If the client doesn't trust me, it's not going to buy. So that's why it's a non-negotiable.
Mm. Or you can be the worst, but if they trust you, they just get in the call, they
Exactly.
say yes all the time, and then they send you the
Exactly.
invoice and happy days, right?
Happy day. Exactly.
Right. So, what are some last words from Sahil Priyani specifically before we close this pod?
I think to all the viewers out there that actually had a, full walkthrough of this particular session here with Antonis, I think the major giveaway I would do over here is that the consistency part, right?
Yeah.
Not focus too much on results and the outcome because you cannot control that. So, but naturally, you shouldn't be worrying about that, right? You should
Yes.
be worried about things that you can control, which is how much effort you're going to be putting in.
Yeah.
And that actually one of the major secrets that you probably would get to know later on. Some people learn it very early in their careers, and I'm lucky that I did.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just keep it consistent. That's going to beat everything else, right? Keep the efforts consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of self-reflection, which is linked to consistency, looking at
Yeah.
yourself at the end of the day and really being like, okay, yes, I did put in all the efforts that I could possibly. So
Mm.
you shouldn't go to sleep thinking, oh, there was so much more I could have done in the day, right?
Yeah.
All that's very explicit advice, but that's the secret of the top 1%. And hopefully we, individuals like us and Tonis, the viewers, everybody, if they're able to follow this, will be
Yeah.
getting there as well.
100%, man. So well spoken that last one. So that was Sahil Priyani, ladies and gentlemen.